right.
Welcome to Read My Lips Radio, a lively hour of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives. Producer and host, akaRadioRed, asks novelists, artists, photographers, designers, comedians, actors, musicians, composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's akaRadioRed.
Thank you to the voice who gets me on the air. It's Monday. Where in the world else would Radio Red be at 5 o'clock Eastern time on a Monday? Right here, my little corner of the world. Lindsay's back with us, and I used to call it Read My Lips. You remember that from years ago, Lindsay? Now we're the creativity show because we have to be keyword ready. We have to be SEO friendly. And I thought more people would watch and listen if they heard the word creativity. Right, Yemi? Right, Steve? Right, Douglas? There you go.
Absolutely.
So this is the place where we talk about our creativity. You don't have to be a dancer or a singer or a chef or an architect. You live, you're alive, you have a life, you're designing it, you're creating it. How do you talk? What do you do? Did you write a book? Where, when, how? What moves you? How do you present yourself to the world? Even if you still have a telephone, how do you answer the hello? What are you saying on the phone? What do you love to read? And what kinds of movies do you watch? It's all your creativity of how you put your life together. Now, I have to tell you all a couple of really important things. Today is April 13th, and I think you really ought to know that today is the birthday of soul singer Al Green. Anybody remember Al Green?
Yes.
11 Grammys. He is 80 years old today. 80 years old. Let's Stay Together. I will not bother you by trying to sing. And Ricky Schroeder, anybody remember him from Silver Spoons? He's 56 years old. And I want you to know what you're having for dinner, Steve. Peach cobbler. It's Peach Cobbler Day today. That's dessert. It's Scrabble Day because the founder of Scrabble, Alfred Mosher Butts, was born today. I don't know the year. And so this is Scrabble Day. It's Make Lunch Count Day. Lindsay, that's for you. It's Plant Appreciation Day. Yemi, I think that's for you. I haven't even introduced you all yet. Douglas, it's Special Librarians Day. You look like a reader. And for me, it's Silly Earrings Day. Okay, there you go. And let me see what day it is. It's the 96th day of 2026. And I want you all to know that we used to have the Julian calendar. And when we had the Julian calendar, people like me, well, I wasn't alive then, Yemi, but people like me in the beginning of October didn't get our birthday every couple of years. Julian just couldn't figure it out. And then came along Gregorian. I think it was before he got to be a pope. And he said, Mom, I want to be a creative. I'm going to create the Gregorian calendar. And he gave us our leap year every fourth year. Steve, this is very important. You better take notes. And so we get an extra day, and October got their birthdays back. Okay, I just wanted you all to know that. So I'm going to start my introductions. And when I call your name, just wave, okay? And enjoy this. I have a special gift for each of you. So here we go. Welcome to the Creativity Show, where inspiration shines bright. Radio Red on her Scarlett Mic streaming live. Yeah, that's right. The contrasts of creativity, our topic, takes center stage today, where opposites and insights meet in a very imaginative way. Dr. Yemi Famuyiwa. Did I say it right, Yemi?
Yes, you did.
Oh, good. Steve Kelly, that's easier to pronounce. Wave hello. Douglas Park is with us, and Lindsay Barnett. All join our scene. Distinctive personalities sharing what their journeys mean. At our round table, hear what sparks, shapes, and refines their passion and their vision as inspiration intertwines. And here we go with the gifts. Yemi, you're first. I hope you enjoy this. From Lagos, oh, I didn't start yet. Wait till you thank me. From Lagos roots, where learning, discipline, and service align, young Yemi found her joy in art, color, form, and mindful design. With watercolor dreams and sketches she shaped with care, a quiet creativity began to flow there. From Kent State Halls to Leiden's summer far away, through Dutch towns and museums, her worldview found a new sway. With culture, history, and beauty opening her sight, Yemi deepened her sense of story, meaning, and insight. With a calling to medicine, she followed a focused, steady track. In fertility and care, she gives hope to those who seek it back. Through science and storytelling, where knowledge and compassion start, Dr. Yemi blends medicine with meaning and art with heart. Yemi, I hope you enjoyed that.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
I'm glad. You're very welcome. Steve, you're next. From Jersey Shore roots, not the show, the real life scene, young Steve's sports, school, and simple days shaped what he'd glean. with math and English guiding how he'd think and he'd see, and fields of play where his teamwork built his identity. In LaSalle's scholarly halls, finance wrote Steve's early plan, yet storytelling stirred a different path that soon began. From Europe's roads where backpack dreams took flight to classrooms where Steve inspired young minds to write. From coaching teams to theater where creativity took the stage to New York City, acting through a vibrant, changing age. From films to his Butterflied book where kindness lights the way, Steve brings children's stories to life where butterflies love to play. Steve, I hope that was good.
That was wonderful.
I'm glad. Okay, Douglas, you're next. From San Antonio roots where family values led the way, Douglas learned respect, hard work, and care from early days at play. With speech and debate and government shaping how he'd think, his curiosity for ideas brought connections to the brink. From Harvard's halls to Stanford, Douglas's strategy took form to Michigan law, where legal insight then became the norm. From academia in Hong Kong, where global views took flight, to Silicon Valley law, where innovation met insight. From startups to AI, biotech, and crypto's evolving space, Douglas guides legal and business strategy with thoughtful, steady grace. Through writing, speaking, frameworks that inspire what's next to do, Douglas connects ideas and people, bringing bold visions into view. Douglas?
It's extremely poetic.
I hope it was good. And Lindsay, you're last. Here we go. On Southern California shores, sunshine set her carefree tone. If temperatures dropped below 72, her puffer jacket was shown. The little big sister with spirit bold and bright, Lindsay led her siblings with humor, heart, and delight. From sports and student life to stories she adored, through drama, track, and teamwork, many lessons were richly stored. At Berkeley, studying cultures of the past, Lindsay'd unfold till one archaeology dig revealed her gifts were yet to be untold. From advertising past to HR, where her purpose found its place, at UCLA Anderson, her leadership set its pace. Writing Working Hell to Working Well, her message rings so true. Lindsay helps teams thrive, bringing the best to all she'll do. Lindsay?
Thank you. So lovely.
Welcome. You're welcome. And here's the closing of this part. So gather around where the cool vibes of the cool kids sway. You can all sway now. As we dive deep into creativity today, Radio Red's energy, lights the way. We hope to inspire you to live large, love life, and play. So how'd I do, kids? What'd you think?
You did fantastic.
That was amazing.
Have you ever been introduced like that before?
Never.
Never.
Beautiful.
I didn't think so. Lindsay, when you were on last time, I don't think I was doing that. I started it a couple months ago. And I'll tell you all, I have a collaborator who helps me with these rhymes. Her name is Sylvie, and she and I speak French, but I have to tell her we're doing the intros in English. So I'll tell you more about her later. She's very private. We don't talk about her too much on the show. So I'm delighted to have the four of you. And full disclosure to our audience, I met these four wonderful creatives at the recent National Publicity Summit, where my regular listeners and viewers know 99.9, well, about 92.9% of my guests come from the summit. And I usually have three guests, but Lindsay said, I want to come back on the show. And I said, I think the people on April 13th would love to have you on the panel. And so we slotted you in here, and I'm delighted you're here. So what I'd like to do now is go around the table very briefly and have each of you add a little bit more flavor to what I included in your introduction. And now you know, Steve and Douglas and Lindsay and Yemi, why I asked for an origin story bio instead of just your CV. I want to know who you are, how you became you. That's the whole point. So, Yemi, I'm going to put you on speaker view. You'll be the only one on camera for about 2 minutes. I won't cut you off. Tell us a little bit more. And I'm interested in your book and a little bit about what you're doing with fertility, which is a very important topic. So, Yemi, welcome. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. So my part of the journey is I'm a person that grew up just loving science. And not only loving science, I love interacting with people. I could, one of my old professors said, you have the gift for God. I'll get talking to patients and oops, we got to get to the exam. So it's just a deep curiosity about people and a deep curiosity about the science. And to me, that's just a match made in heaven. That's just heavenly. So all my life, I've helped women, either in the process of getting pregnant or getting pregnant. When I was a resident, delivered babies, and then I taught residents how to do deliveries. It's just joyful. It's fun. But then my curiosity extended beyond just the babies to the origins of the baby. I want to go before the baby comes out. What was there? So that led me into looking at the science of reproduction. I did research at NIH. I did my fellowship and stayed on an extra 4 years. I've spent 5 total years at NIH just doing research, bench-side research and patient care, and realized that I actually love patient care too much to stay in the lab. And that's what led me to go into private practice. And in my practice, I have patients from all over the world, and I enjoy their stories. In fact, their stories are so fascinating. It's like me traveling vicariously through all these places through my patients. But then I started to see a common theme of issues going on. And I'm like, what if I could get this common theme down on paper? I could probably help more people. I could get to them before real difficulties show up. So I used to write blogs. I would write blogs all the time, teach freely. And I have always had those ideas. So over the past few years, I thought, I've always written anyway. I'm always writing and publishing. Why don't I put it together in one spot as a compendium? That's where the origin of my book came from. And it's a long story if you have time to hear it, but it's really long. I had all these ideas tumbling their way out of my head. And I actually went to an author's retreat where they help you take your bumbling, stumbling ideas and start to channel it into more than just a word vomit. And it was that retreat that helped me at the very beginning. I did a lot more than that, but that was the origin of putting it all together.
Thank you, Yemi. You tell your story so beautifully, so articulately, so passionately. And the parallel, I'm going to say something silly, the parallel of why I'm interested in my guests' origins, all of your origins of your creativity seems to be the same thread. Yemi, you wanted to know the origin of how babies get here. Yes. At the reproduction side. Very, very interesting. And early on in the show years ago, I used to ask my guests, what does creativity mean? And one of the words that came up all the time was curiosity.
Yes.
Right? Aren't we all curious about something and want to know more, do more, think more, feel more? That's what you expressed. And I appreciate that. Courage was another one, commitment, confidence, all kinds of words. But curiosity, you were curious, and that led to your choice of the specialization and to your book. So thank you for that. And thank Steve, let's go fly with the butterflies. I think, Steve, I'm putting you on speaker view. Why don't you tell us a little more about your origins? Go ahead.
Okay, sure. So I was a finance major and had a job when I got out of school. And I told the boss that I was going backpacking first. And he said, all right, go on and get it out of your system and come back thinking like a businessman because you're still thinking like a college kid. I was like, well, I am. I graduated yesterday. So he said, how long are you going for? I said, a month. He goes, okay. So I came back 2 months later and quit and didn't have anything. I had more interviews in the finance world. And then I got a call to go teach high school. And I never thought about that in my entire life. And I just said, yeah, I would love it. So I went in for the interview the next day. I ended up teaching 5 years. And I taught scripture and a couple other religion classes. So being a finance major, I was one day ahead of the kids the entire year. And then along the way, I got the acting bug. I moved to New York City. I was doing a bunch of acting. And then I started to write and direct. And we were shooting a trailer for my first feature when my parents came down with Alzheimer's. So that kind of got put to the side during that. And then I was taking this seminar, and the objective of it was to create a project to benefit at least 20 people. So it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 12 hours a day. So you're thinking, who are you going to have on your team? What are we going to do? And you're getting all excited. So after 3 days of that, I go to bed Sunday night, and I'm in bed for about an hour. And it just comes to me, and I pop out of bed, go to the computer, and I wrote Butterfly, a children's book. That was not in the cards. And I went to bed, and then I got up in the morning, and I was like, what was that? So I read it, and I was like, it's not horrible. So I left it, and I would come back to it every now and then. And I only got serious about it with the rewrites and editing about a year ago. And it's been a fun journey.
Very cool. And the theme I know of Butterfly is kindness, right?
Right. Yeah.
You say kindness is more powerful than a tornado, but in the other direction, right?
Right.
Very, very interesting. And what's been the response to your book, Steve? How long has it been out?
It came out 3 months ago.
Okay.
It came out just before Christmas. So that's 4 months now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been great. I'm starting to read to kids in school.
Nice.
The little ones, they are awesome.
Nice. I bet they love it. Thank you so much. Happy to have you here. We'll be learning more about you. Douglas, you're next. And you just unmuted. Thank you. I'm putting you on speaker view. Douglas, please tell us a little more about yourself and welcome.
Well, my dad was a professor of pediatric cardiology, but we didn't talk about medicine. We didn't talk about science. We talked about current events at the dinner table. And, my parents both very much encouraged me and my brothers to learn anything and everything. And I think that's where I first got this curiosity bug that I've not been able to get rid of my entire life. And, that extended really when I was in high school. When I was debating, I had a wonderful debate coach who was like a second mother to me. And she really encouraged us to go out and learn everything, to always think about, well, what's different, what's new, how can we see things differently? That's really continued throughout my entire life in college and the PhD program in business and, becoming a lawyer. And I've always thought about ways to connect dots across areas, subjects that are maybe not so obvious. So for instance, what does a social network have to do with physics? Well, I've thought about that and I've actually written about that. But, I've worked with technology companies here in Silicon Valley and around the world for almost 30 years. It's kind of scary to say. I mean, that's a long time. But, I've helped them not only with the business issues, but with the legal issues and with their people issues. Like, how is everybody getting along in the company? And really, I finally decided I got to write a book about this. And that's what I've done. And it was just an incredible process of putting together different perspectives and saying, hey, here's a new way to think about growing startups.
Thank you. Douglas, you just gave us either call it a primer or a primer on a life of creative curiosity and courage and commitment with your story and the way connecting dots of things that on the surface have nothing to do with each other. I think that's one of the foundations of it. Thank you. So, and what's the title of your book?
It's called Starting Startups. It's coming out at the end of this month.
I have another show under my other name on Wednesdays called Technology Revolution, The Future of Now. And we cover a different industry every week with a panel of 3 futurists, I call them. You're my creatives, they're my futurists, and they share their predictions. And I have to tell you that on April 22nd, I wish I had known more about you. April 22nd, I'm having a panel on the future of founders plus AI. And I've got somebody who founded a nonprofit and somebody who founded 3 tech workplace safety companies and somebody who just founded a technology consultancy. And we're going to be predicting. I will send you the link to that. I think you might enjoy that. Okay. So thank you very much. Delighted to have you here. Lindsay Barnett, you said, I'm at the Summit, Red. I want to come back on your show. And I said, how can I resist that woman with that gorgeous smile and all that energy and intelligence and the puffer jacket from the 72 degrees in Southern Cal? I mean, seriously, Lindsay. Lindsay, welcome back. I'm putting you on speaker view. Why don't you take a couple minutes and fill us in on your journey? Go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Can you hear me okay now?
We can. It's great.
Okay,
Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Thank you also for having me back. And this is just such a fun show to be on. So yeah, a little bit about me, my journey. I feel very blessed. I grew up at a home where, it was a lot about helping others and being part of your community. And so I think that plays forward. I feel very lucky to go last in this group because there's a lot of similarities here. I do feel like a connector of dots and people. And so just to share a little bit of that archaeology story that you alluded to, I was on an archaeological dig thinking I was going to be an archaeologist. And I found that all of the dig leaders kept coming to me when people weren't getting along. And so they would say, Lindsay, John and Eric aren't getting along. Can you have a talk with them? And so at the end of that, I realized, okay, maybe my gifts are best used for living people, not dead people. So moved out from there, found my way into advertising and into ultimately human resources, and have, really enjoyed the last couple decades spending some time in corporate America, but also recognized that there was a lot of suffering that was happening there. And so through my own experiences, just stories from working with so many people, as well as my coaching practice, I put a lot of thoughts into my book, Working Hell to Working Well, Making Your Company Work for You. I think one of the things that I've found is that there is a place between working ourselves sick and being sick of working. So how can I help people find greater work-life harmony when they're ready to start taking action? So that is a little bit of my journey.
Thank you. I'm seeing Douglas smiling knowingly about some of the things you said. Everybody was, but I think particular Douglas. Very, very interesting. I have to come up with a different name, a different title for the episode every week. And I've been doing this for years and years. I do about 48, 50 live shows a year on this series, as well as the other series. But I looked at your bios, at your origin stories, and Yemi and Lindsay and Douglas and Steve, and I said, what thread can I find that will honor all of them? And I realized it was your contrasts. Not only your contrasts among each other, among yourselves, but the contrasts in your lives. Because look at where you all each started and look at where you are today. And I'm seeing a study in each one of you comes from a field that it wasn't necessarily connecting the dots to who you are and why you're here on my show today. So I thought that would be an interesting way to caption this, the contrast of creativity. What I'd like to do now, I'm watching the clock. We have a packed house, but I've loved the story. So what I'd like to do is I've asked each of you to please send me a fictional character quote from a movie or a TV show. Yemi is smiling. She's up first. And or a song lyric that tells us a little bit about your creativity, your path, your journey, whatever you want to caption it. So I'm going to read the quote with a little bit of background around it. And then I'd like you to take about 2-3 minutes. Let's keep this brief because I want to get to some more about your creativity statement so we don't go too far over the hour, but I know we will. Okay. So, Yemi has sent a quote from Lady Whistledown. Those of you who haven't watched Bridgerton will have no clue what this is all about. The voice of the wonderful, eminent Dame Julie Andrews, who has been recently losing her voice, I understand. But Julie Andrews voices Lady Whistledown. The series is a Netflix series, 2020 to, it's still going on. They keep renewing it on Netflix, and it's called Bridgerton. And it's about the society in Regency, the Regency romance. Let's see, it's a Shondaland show.
Yes.
It's her first scripted show for Netflix. And you might not recognize the names in the cast if you haven't seen the show, but one longtime actress has a very prominent role. Her name is Polly Walker, and I remember her from other shows. It debuted in 2020, and they've been releasing it in 2 parts a year, blah, blah, blah. There was Queen Charlotte. It's just beautiful. It follows the close-knit siblings of the noble and influential Bridgerton family as they navigate the competitive social season. And the bottom line is, when is their daughter going to get married, and who is going to be her suitor, and are they suitable? I think it comes down to that. It's very fancy and a lot of long dresses. Here is the quote that Yemi has selected for her creativity quote. 2 minutes, Yemi. So the quote is, "Dearest gentle reader, we have been apart for far too long." Yemi, what does this have to? It's a beautiful quote, and I love Lady Whistledown. Bob, by the way, publishes a gossip sheet talking about and it's picked up in the middle of the night and distributed all over town. Oh my God, he did that. Oh, she did that. Really? And who is? And she's finally revealed, and then she becomes another character. And Julie Andrews had to change her voice, her style of her voice, to be the new character who plays Whistledown in the new season. So, Yemi, I'm putting you back on speaker view. I'm talking too much here. Tell me, what does this have to do with you and your creativity?
Oh, I first off, I love the it came out as a series of books first before the movie came out. So I like the whole setting. If you don't realize it, when you look at the Bridgertons, they go about the rites of passage, including somebody not trying to get pregnant, not quite getting pregnant, the heartbreak that goes with it. Like one sister has to go through, one sister is not quite fertile, is having difficulty getting pregnant and having to deal with, I would say, not pregnant, and the stigma goes, there's a stigma with one of the sisters in there who couldn't get pregnant and hid that fact, right? Until her husband, who was, I think he had a sickness and died or whatever. But to me, when I look at Bridgerton, it's not just the story. It talks about fertility in ways that we don't really see it, right? We're looking at women who are trying to get pregnant and who cannot, right? And the stigma that's in society is so wonderfully played out, in the movie. So that's what I saw in the movie.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's a very interesting line. Let me go back to a gallery viewer so I can see everybody. Very interesting line that connecting the dots from your creative approach to helping women to what was in the book and in the show. And by the way, I enjoyed the show very much. And the dresses and the scenes are just incredible. Anyway, past my before our time. Okay, let's go to Steve. Steve has picked a quote from Arthur Dent, character played by Martin Freeman, and the sci-fi comedy from 2005 is titled The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, directed by Garth Jennings, based on the series created by Douglas Adams. And I believe he passed away just before production started on the movie. A lot of people are in the movie, but let me just give you one Thursday morning. Arthur Dent discovers his house is to be immediately demolished to make way for a bypass. He tries delaying the bulldozers by lying down in front of them, but his friend Ford Prefect convinces him to go to the nearby pub, where he explains He's an alien from the vicinity of Betelgeuse, and a journalist working on the Hitchhiker's Guide of the Galaxy, a universal guidebook. I'm going to stop there and read the quote. Steve has picked the following. I asked him if he'd come to wash the windows, and he said no. He'd come to demolish the house. Oh, Steve, should we start crying now or pushing our fists together? What should we do? How does this relate to you? Go.
No, it's actually funny, I think. So you'll write something. I think most writers can relate to this. And I found myself I'm writing something. I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. And you put it down and you read it tomorrow and you're like, oh my God, this is so bad. And you think you're about to put the finishing touches. So you think you're coming to just wash the windows. And it's like, no, you got to throw out that whole chapter. You have to throw out that whole scene. It doesn't work. So the first couple times it happens, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I have to quit. I'm bad. And then you just get used to it. That's writing. You're right. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And but you keep writing.
You do. And I have not been able to go near my novella, which I've been working on for 3 years, for the past 5 or 6 weeks. I just can't go near it. I'll say this weekend, I'm going to go back. It's almost done. I'm almost ready. And then I'll find 25 other things to do that weekend. And I won't go near it. It's like a force field repelling me, like there are magnets saying, stay away, stay away. But I know it's almost done. And Yemi, I'm not sure if I don't want to birth this baby, which is my book, because I love it. I have enjoyed writing this a lot. It's funny, it's scathing, it's sarcastic. Well, you must figure that. But it's based on another place where I used to live, and I have to use a pseudonym. How do you do interviews when you're using a fake name when people might recognize you? So that would be the challenge. But anyway, Steve, I love the way you made a funny thing out of that. Very interesting. I think everybody's intrigued that you went to bed, got up after an hour, wrote the whole book or most of the book, got up in the morning and said, oh my God, I wrote a book. What was I doing last night? That's an interesting story. I haven't heard anything like that, but we'll talk about that more. Douglas, I'm up to you. Douglas has picked a song lyric. Yay! The song lyric is a part of the title of the song, Roll with the Changes by REO Speedwagon from way back in the day, 1978. Let's see now. The band was formed in Champaign, Illinois in 1967. They cultivated a following during the 70s. Commercial success. I don't know about that. Throughout the 80s, I don't edit this. And their best-selling album, High Fidelity, contained 4 U.S. top 40 hits and sold more than 10 million copies. And let me just read a bit here, Steve. Douglas, about the origins. Cronin, the name of the performer was Cronin, and he joined REO as the second frontman in 72, left in 73 after one album, Creative Differences. How do you like that? They brought him back in 76, and his journey inspired the song. He says, Speedwagon had moved from Illinois to California. I moved reluctantly. I was born and raised in the Midwest. I loved it there. I felt most comfortable. But the band moved, so I was going to go too. But I wanted to really feel the move. Rather than get on a plane, I filled up a U-Haul trailer, hooked it on the back of my Ford Pinto hatchback, and I was going to make the drive and really experience the distance. I got to Denver. I decided to take a detour and go through Tucson. There was a woman involved, of course. And I'm just driving along and start singing to myself, keep on rolling, roll with the changes. I didn't realize, Steve, this goes to you. I didn't realize I was doing it. And I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. And lyrics started coming to me. And the next thing I know, I'm steering with my knees. So the quote, Steve, I don't know if you knew that, Douglas, but the quote you picked is, oh, roll with the changes, keep on rolling. So Douglas, I hope you enjoyed the backstory, but I was fascinated. Douglas, tell us a little more about it, please.
Well, you certainly did your research.
Thank you.
So anyway, I believe that Kevin Cronin is now back in Chicago, but he's still singing with the band. And I think when I was really, really young, I was very resistant to change. I really wanted things to stay the same way. And I was probably like that until maybe college. But, that song came out before REO Speedwagon became really famous. And in fact, a lot of people even people who like the band don't know about that song. But I consider this idea of rolling with the changes to be kind of my life philosophy now. In my personal life, my social life, my professional life. And I think that's a healthy way to look at things. And I actually find that to the extent that I'm at all creative, which I do not consider myself very creative, to be kind of an inspiration to me, at least, for trying to be creative and looking at things that are new and understanding that things are always changing, not only ourselves, but everything around us.
Very well put. I mentor people from time to time, at least when I was in the corporate world. Lindsay, I know you can relate to this. And I used to tell them, if you, and this goes to Leonard Cohen has a line in one of his songs. I don't think it's Hallelujah, it's something else. If you see a crack in the door or the windows, open a little bit. I say, push open the damn door and see what's on the other side. And it might change your life. It might be an inspiration. It might be an aspiration. It might be a perspiration, but something might be there that you will go with the change. And in corporate world, I think you all know, we talk about change management. How do you get people to change and adopt new software and new systems? And what if they're not on board? And what if they don't want to adapt and adopt? And companies go through this all the time. But Douglas, if they had this motto, the line you picked, roll with the changes, keep on rolling. If they put that up, Lindsay, you know, in a banner, in a break room or somewhere, or on the website, roll with the changes. Douglas, I think we'd all be a lot happier.
Yes.
I had to connect those dots. I'm sorry. Thank you, Douglas. That was a wonderful quote, and I appreciate it. Let's go to Lindsay has an interesting quote. This from Adult Ralphie, voiced by Gene Shepard in A Christmas Story, 1983 comedy film based on the 1966 book In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash by Gene Shepard, with some elements from his 1971 book, Wanda Hickey's Night of Golden Memories and Other Disasters. Steve, I think you need to read that. Stars some interesting people. A young boy and his family's misadventures during Christmas time in 1940, the first installment in the Parker family saga. Considered a holiday classic in the U.S. and Canada, it's been shown in a marathon annually on TNT since 1997. And they call it 24 Hours of a Christmas Story, with 12 consecutive airings from Christmas Eve to Christmas Day evening. Wow, there were several sequels. So here is the line Lindsay has selected. He lay there like a slug. It was his only defense. I'm getting echo on somebody's microphone right now. Why don't everybody mute except Lindsay?
Is it mine?
It might be. Everybody just mute, and then Lindsay, you'll stay on for the only one. Go ahead. Good. Lindsay, go.
So I still laugh when I hear that quote. So the setup for it is basically I think it takes place in Chicago or somewhere cold. And this kid is leaving for the day, getting ready for school, and his mom is wrapping him in layer after layer after layer. And he literally can't put down his arms. He's just so wrapped up in clothing. And they encounter some bullies on the way to school. He gets knocked down, but because he is so wrapped up, he can't get up. So the line was, he lay there like a slug. It was his only defense. And for me, how it relates to creativity is, sometimes our best creativity is when we just are kind of beat down, and, you know, it's kind of aligned with necessity is the mother of invention. But sometimes we just have to lay there like a slug, let it soak in, and, you know, a creative solution will emerge.
There we go. You might have to call Steve in the middle of the night and see if he's got one for you. Thank you very much. I love comedic lines. Very interesting. You all really did your work, and I appreciate it. All of the statements all of the quotes you said were wonderful. Thank you. And I love, Douglas, I love researching. That's one of my passions, is researching quotes. And I used to, I think you can all unmute now. I used to have guests on my shows pick quotes from famous people. And after a while, we were on the 100th time of quotes from Gandhi and from Maya Angelou and from Winston Churchill. And I realized it would be a lot more fun for me, and hopefully the guests and the listeners and viewers, to have quotes from the creative world, from movies, from TV, from songs. And that's when I realized I was going to enjoy researching those. So I get to learn about movies and TV shows I've never seen, or I want to see again, or I should have seen when they, anyway, blah, blah, blah. Thank you all. Let's go to, I'm looking at the time. We have time here for a couple of creativity statements, and then I have some things to share with all of you. Yemi, I'm going to go to this. I'm going to read your statement number one. You don't need to find it. I'm going to ask you to take just a short 2 minutes to explain it, and then I'm going to go around the table quickly and see if Stephen, Douglas, and Lindsay have anything about this, if it resonates with them. So Yemi says, I create when I step away from noise and step into nature. The woods steady me. Long walks, tree-lined paths, late afternoon where my thoughts begin to untangle. I mix these walks with my studies. I carry complex ideas with me until they soften and reorganize themselves. That's a beautiful way of putting it, Yemi. It takes time. I do not rush the process. The concepts I let settle, rearrange, and rise again with more clarity. That's another handbook there you just wrote, lady. So I think we've got a lot of very important statements coming on this show. We got to, yes. I have to do some clips of it. Yemi, why don't you take about 2 minutes? I'm going to keep us on gallery view so everybody can watch you when you say it, and then we'll go around the table briefly. Yemi, what does this mean to you? Tell us a little bit more.
So for me, when I'm trying to untangle science, I have to take concrete, difficult, even, technical detail, and I have to play it in a movie in my head and see it in a way, can I explain it to a sixth grader, a seventh grader, and an earth grader? And what can I explain it to the lay person who's not a PhD in science? Because I could be talking shop with my colleagues and with, scientists, and that doesn't help anybody, right? I got to bring it into concrete terms that people can understand. And sometimes when I'm trying to see a connection, I have to go for a long walk to make things gel. And I tell you what, like, if I'm starting to adapt something, especially into my clinical practice, that may, take a lot of time and effort to distill it, I call it my push week. Let me explain what I do.
Okay, briefly.
I go for a 30-minute walk. I come back down to my table. I sit for 2-3 hours. I time myself to get up, and then I go for another 30 walk. Then I come back for another 2 hours, and then I go for another 30-minute walk. And to me, each time I sit back, it's like somebody opens up avenues that I never even knew existed.
Wow. I have never heard of a process like that. Thank you for telling us. It sounds structured and grueling, and you have a commitment to it, and it works for you. Who wants to go first? Just a quick comment. I'm not interested in the 30 minutes and the 2 hours, but the idea of walking in nature and letting your ideas soften and untangle. Lindsay, you want to go first, and we'll go then Douglas and Steve? Lindsay, what do you think?
Yes, I love that. And I have a somewhat similar process, not quite as structured as yours, but if I'm feeling antsy or can't really feel like I'm thinking straight, I'm like, time to take myself for a walk. Got to go for a walk. So I have something very similar. Yeah.
Interesting. Douglas, what about you?
Well, my creative process is completely random. And although I don't go on a whole lot of walks, when I'm feeling kind of overwhelmed in whatever sense, I go for a drive. I just drive around, and then that's when ideas pop into my head. I mean, I'm not even thinking about anything.
Yes.
And suddenly like something happens.
Some people call that the flow or being in the zone. What do you think?
Yeah.
Douglas,
yeah, I understand that. Yeah, maybe. But it's random. I do not have any real structured process for coming up with ideas or trying to be creative.
And hence the name of the show today is The Contrasts of Creativity. There you go. You just proved it for me, Douglas. Steve, what do you think? Do you go for long walks? Any kind of walks?
I love that 2 hour, 3 hour. I go for shorter. If I'm reaching the point of diminishing returns, I just stop, because there's nothing's going to come in, nothing's going to come out. And I think if we fill our brain with stuff and then just let it go, take a shower, go for a walk, go for a bike ride, put the project away, and then behind the scenes, our brain goes to work and comes up with some sort of solution. Like Archimedes, he had a way to see if the crown was solid gold or not, and his life was at stake, so there's some pressure there. And he finally just took a break and he went to the bath. And when he got in, he saw the water rise and he just went, Eureka. So he had to take a shower, take a bath.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think I mostly just eat chocolate. I come up with ideas sometimes randomly, Douglas, like you said, they just pop up. I started a show last year called Toos, T-O-O, Saucy Dame. That was me and Cool Dude. And I interviewed, I call it a conversation, not an interview, 54 men in different industries in 1 year. And I created the Cool Dudes Hall of Fame. And it was a blast. The shows were about an hour and a half, and they a little bit structured, but it was a conversation. It wasn't tell me this, tell me that. We both shared. And I woke up in December one day, and I said to myself, I think 54 people in 1 year is probably, and that was in addition to several other shows I had. And I woke up one day and I said, you know what? I also had a show called HB2, Happy Birthday to You, where I would research birthdays and holidays, and I'd invite somebody to share the bullets with me. I'd send it to them, and it was a long document. It was an hour, and I thought, oh my God, the research, I got to get somebody. People loved the show. But my point, I woke up in December one day and I said, you know what? I love to do research and I love to talk, but I need to disengage a little bit from having to get people on board right now with this show 3 a week and the technology show 3 a week. That's already a lot of people. So I said, what can I do? And I came up with something called Say What? Good News. I do it every weekday morning, and it runs about 4 minutes and 38 seconds without me even looking at the clock. People are coming out of the woodwork. I put it on 5 live channels, and people are contacting me I haven't heard from in years, Lindsay. People are saying, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. Love the show. I do shout outs. I do 3 little tiny good news stories that nobody or very few people have ever heard about. All fun, all interesting stuff. And Douglas, I just woke up one day and said, I'm going to start a new show. Okay, January 1st, let's do it. And I made a new graphic. I got a new song, and I did it. And I've evolved it. I'm on week 16 right now. I do not miss, no matter what else is going on, other jobs, work I do, gigs I have. This is sometime early in the morning. I'm online, live, doing this show. It has changed my life. It is my happy place. And I watch the show right after it airs. And I sit here and say, you know that? I don't say I was good, or I say, oh, that's interesting. I like that story, as though I'm the audience. And it's such a metamorphosis. And I don't know. And I promised it would be under 5 minutes. And without even looking, I've got it down to just over 4 minutes and 30 seconds without even looking at a clock. And this to me is part of my creativity, is just coming up with stuff. And I'm going to add something to the curiosity, courage, and the other words, is being happy. Finding your place. And on that note, I'm bringing up, Steve, your creativity statement number 1, where you talk about that. You say, I usually write on my computer in the morning at my desk, but here's the part that I want to talk about briefly. It's simply fun, and I want to have as much fun as I can. Okay, Steve, that's the part. That's the creative part. Can creativity be fun? Hell yeah. That wasn't the word I wanted to use. Steve, tell us a little bit, and then we're going to go around and see. Well, Douglas, we'll go to you first, and then Lindsay, and then Yemi. Steve, talk.
Yeah, I think anything that we do, for me, if it's not going to be fun, then I don't get it. A couple of my friends and I, we were starting a couple years ago. I said, okay, number 1, if this stops being fun, we're done. The number 1, if it gets hits and does well, that's a side deal. We're doing this to have fun. And if we are having fun, then we'll make it work. And it's that simple.
I think it is that simple. Let's go around. Douglas, are you having fun with what you're doing?
Absolutely. I'm having more fun than ever before. More fun than I've ever had in my entire life, actually. And a part of that is also because in addition to writing and doing my work, I've actually now started to, again, just kind of randomly come up with some music, create some music. So I'm trying to get that down into digital form. But yeah, and that is more fun than anything else, trying to write music.
I love it. I didn't expect that from you. Very interesting. Lindsay, are you having fun with your creativity?
I am, and I'm being challenged.
Pick up your mic again, Lindsay, because we want to go ahead.
I am, and I'm being challenged.
How?
Because I'm having to be creative in different ways. Like, I'm not a marketer. I have to figure out marketing. I'm learning how to make videos, things like that ultimately are going to unlock more creativity and more opportunities for me. But right now in the learning curve, it's a little painful, but I see the opening that the time spent will offer me.
Kick open that window, lady. There you go.
Yeah.
Push open that door and find it. Yemi, are you having fun with your creativity? We can't hear you, dear. No mic. Nope. You're not muted, but your mic is off. Can you just talk into your computer or do something quickly? Tap the mic. Is it disconnected? Nope. No audio. I'm going to let you figure that out, and just when you do, just talk and we'll get you, okay? I'm not sure what happened, but we want to make sure. Yes, we're going to say goodbye to Jordan at Voice America Empowerment and Voice America Media Empowerment in about 3 minutes, and then we're going to keep on going. Yemi, just you work on that, okay? I'm going to go to Douglas. We won't forget you, Yemi, I promise. Douglas, I'm going to your creative statement number 3, and you say, I tend to be creative during the evening. Sometimes I wake up with a thought and I write a note. This is part of the creative cycle, is how do you capture what you're thinking about. So Douglas, talk to us a little bit, please.
Well, sometimes literally I will wake up in the middle of the night and I have some idea. So then I turn on the light and I write something down on a sheet of paper, and then I go back to bed. Or sometimes I'm eating dinner and I have an idea too. And it tends to happen, these ideas tend to happen more often late in the day than earlier. Not sure why, but that's just how it is.
Interesting. Let's go around the table. Yemi, are you able to talk to us now? Nope. Yemi, tell you what, disconnect your external mic and set up to talk through your computer, and that should work, okay? Because where nothing is coming out. We're going to go around the table. Lindsay, notes late at night. What do you think? How do you capture your ideas?
Oh, my iPhone notes is filled with ideas because it's the only thing that I have on me at all times, for better or for worse, the phone addiction. But I have so many notes of it's everywhere. I don't know how I find anything, but it's there.
I love it. Steve, what do you do?
Yeah, I have a little notebook in the car. I have paper on the side table by the bed. And if I'm just out walking, then I'll talk into the phone.
Interesting. Yemi? Nope. No audio. No audio at all. Yemi, I tell you what, if you want to drop off and come right back, we've only got about 10 minutes left, but if you drop off and come out, it might reset, and I'll let you right back in. Okay, dear? Because we want to, there you go, she's gone. Okay, I want to read a quote to the three of you. I think you'll appreciate this. If you ever heard of Talking Heads, the rock group Talking Heads, and you know that David Byrne was the front man? Well, David Byrne was interviewed in 2023 by somebody named Steven Johnson on a podcast called How Ideas Happen, which is really a basic way of talking about creativity. And I think you will appreciate this, especially Douglas. David Byrne said, sometimes I have just the title of a song that comes to me and I write it down and I go, expand on that. I think there's something there. And I also have in my computer, this is for Lindsay, a whole lot of musical ideas that maybe have a melody, a nonsense word melody, waiting for words. But usually I need something to start with. It is hard to start from nothing. I accumulate these very little beginnings. And when I come back, I have something to build on. And then he adds, our minds fizz. Let me see if Yummy's back. No, she's not. Our minds fizz. I'm going to let her in. Hold on. I want to finish the quote because I want her here. Our minds fizz with fragments of ideas, puzzles to ponder, clues on how to fix a problem. Most of us undervalue that chatter. Writers and artists systematically capture the little beginnings. And he says he makes a point of looking at old entries from time to time, and he says to himself, devote 30 minutes to improve it. Douglas, does that resonate with you? Taking the notes? What do you think?
It does. I really don't know how other people do things, and it's interesting to hear that that's how David Byrne does it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yes, it does resonate with me.
I want you all to say bye-bye to Voice America Media Empowerment Channel. Jordan is giving us the 1 minute signal. Jordan, thank you very much for putting us on your live stream on your Voice America Media Empowerment Channel. And we're going to continue because we have a lot more to talk about here. So